replacements. Rely on Ramjack Foundation Repair.
Live from Augusta, you're watching News 12 live at 5.
A high-speed chase ends right here at News 12. Late Saturday night, a Georgia State Patrol vehicle slammed into our sign off Wrdw Parkway and then burst into flames. We do know that trooper involved in this crash had only minor injuries, and tonight the series of events that led up to this crash are now coming to light. Our Sydney Hood is live where that crash took place. And Sydney, walk us through what happened here.
Well, this is where the crash ended at, Will, right here at the bottom of our driveway. And like you said, it happened late Saturday night, not long before we went on air. So you can imagine the surprise our weekend crew had whenever they came down our driveway and saw all of this going on. Now, by the time they got out of here, the flames from that GSP car were already extinguished, but you can see the damage is still very visible today. We've got some burn marks on our sign still. Our stop sign is knocked down and gone. And then I want to walk you over here. We can still see some tire marks in the grass right here on our side of the road, right here on Cabela Drive. Now, GSP says this all started on Washington Road. We aren't exactly sure where at on Washington Road, but they say a Mustang was traveling 81 in a 45 when trooper Tyler Crow saw that, turned on his blue lights, and went after that Mustang. The two cars then took a right turn onto Alexander Drive, and when that Mustang failed to stop, that's when the chase started. And that's what brings us to this intersection down here at Riverwatch and Cabela. GSP says that Trooper Crow was traveling down Alexander whenever he started to lose control going around a curve, and then whenever he crossed over the intersection, he crossed over the median curb right here on Cabela Drive before traveling right through here before eventually hitting our sign and bursting into flames. And I gotta tell you, Will, looking at the details from this crash, looking at the pictures and videos from that night, it is pure luck that Trooper Crow made it out with minor injuries and that no one else was involved in this. No other injuries were reported.
Yeah, and even looking at the sign there behind you, you can even tell that really the only damage there is the burn marks. The concrete is completely fine from what we could see, so a very sturdy sign on our end. Thankfully, no one was hurt. Thankfully, none of our employees were leaving after their shift on the weekend crew. Of course, we'll keep you updated as we learn more and try to understand what exactly happened on Saturday night. Thanks, Sydney. To whether now you're taking a live look over our station here on a beautiful afternoon for us. We're hoping for some sunny and dry weather throughout the week as we check in with First Alert Chief Meteorologist Riley Hale, who's live in the Weather Center now. And Riley, how is our week shaping up for us?
Well, we are looking to hang on to dry weather, Will, so good in that department. Temperatures are going to be cooling off a little bit, though. Not excessively cold. So if you do like the outdoor, if you do have any outdoor plans, the weather is going to be nice for you. Over the weekend, we got close to 80 degrees on Saturday afternoon, believe it or not, and we were at least hitting the mid-60s for highs yesterday as that rain continued to fall. This afternoon, we've been about 10 degrees colder out there. Our high temps have remained in the mid-50s for most spots. 54 is what we've been able to reach at Bushfield and just a degree cooler at Daniel Field. Most other locations across the region staying within a degree or two of those numbers. Currently speaking, we're still in the low 50s for most spots. 52 at Bushfield, 51 in Aiken, 59 right now in Evans, and then up towards the lake, they're currently at 56 degrees. And temperatures will fall very quickly once that sun goes away within the next 20-25 minutes. We'll be in the 40s already by 7, then dropping into the 30s even before midnight. By tomorrow morning, we'll most likely see the 20s. Have a look at those cold temps coming up in the full forecast, but let's get an update now on your First Alert traffic.
And now, First Alert traffic.
All right, let's take a look at Riverwatch Parkway and I-20. You can see clear skies overhead and not much traffic to really mention here on a Monday afternoon. So if you are crossing the state line, no major headaches to worry about. You can see the golden hour from our Grovetown camera here at exit 190 Lewiston Road. Lewiston Road doesn't look too excessively busy at the moment, just our usual backup of traffic towards the interstate. Dry right now and hanging on to dry weather this week, but some pretty chilly temperatures. We'll have a look at that coming up in just about 10 minutes.
All right, thanks, Riley. Georgia's Secretary of South Carolina's inaugural first-in-the-nation Democratic presidential primary is less than 2 months away. Today, the state party announced a major initiative to mobilize voters for the February 3rd election. Our State House reporter Mary Green has the details.
While there will be 3 candidates on the ballot for South Carolina's Democratic presidential primary, President Joe Biden is expected to win. Not only is he the sitting president, but the state has also been friendly territory for him. But the state party and the DNC are partnering for a 6-figure investment to get voters to the polls for that primary, which they say is about long-term success.
Part of what we have to do here in South Carolina and across the country is make sure that we're actually going and engaging with the voters. We can't take anybody for granted. I think the stakes are so high in this election coming up because democracy is on the ballot.
The party is hiring at what they say is an unprecedented level for this type of push. Around 50 staffers, including regional directors and one specifically for college campuses. The Get Out the Vote campaign will include events across the state, phone and online voter outreach, and a bus tour. The DNC selected South Carolina to be the first state on its presidential nomination calendar for 2024, but it also said that calendar isn't necessarily permanent and will be reevaluated every 4 years. The South Carolina Democratic Party says this new push is about keeping the voices of Black, rural, and Southern voters at the fore for future elections.
We're leaving no Democrat untouched. This is about centering the voters who make up our extremely diverse electorate. We're putting Democrats front and center and making sure they know that the state party is committed to providing them with the information needed to vote and have their voice heard in this process.
DNC Chair Jamie Harrison, South Carolinian himself and former state party chair, says he's confident with this plan, South Carolina Democrats will get the turnout necessary to show the rest of the country that the state is deserving of its first-in-the-nation slot in the future. Reporting in Columbia, I'm Mary Green.
An SCDP chair, Crystal Spain, says that she expects President Biden will be campaigning in the Palmetto State at some point between now and the primary on February 3rd. Biden will be on the ballot along with Minnesota Congressman Dean Phillips and Marianne Williamson. A new CNN poll shows former President Trump leading President Biden in 2 key swing states, including right here in Georgia. President Biden just barely won the Peach State in 2020. In Michigan, where Biden won by a wider margin, Trump is also leading in a hypothetical 2-way matchup. According to the poll, voters in Michigan and Georgia hold negative views on President Biden's job performance, policy positions, and mental sharpness. Connecting the South in a way that we've never really seen before. That's the hope of an $8 billion proposal for 10-passenger rail projects across the country. Part of the plan is to connect Atlanta's airport to Charlotte, North Carolina. But that's not all. Georgia senators say that the high-speed rail would have stops along South Carolina's upstate, Greenville's airport, Athens, Georgia, and right here in Augusta. Supporters of this proposal say that this could be a significant boost to our economies.
It's going to be a huge boon for our economy, and so we'll have the jobs, and then we'll also have supply chain investment. We're really having a big investment in our infrastructure, and I think it's a big deal.
The funds are part of the bipartisan infrastructure law passed 2 years ago. The projects are estimated to cost much more than $8 billion, and this $8 billion in grant money is just the beginning. The first step of the study will be to develop a scope, schedule, and cost estimate for the high-speed rail. Well, breaking news live at 5, we're learning more about a Columbia middle school student who died. In a statement by the school sent to parents, the student has been identified as Montrell Roos Jr. This is the same student who collapsed during a basketball game at Lakeside Middle back on November 1st. A witness tells us it appeared a defibrillator had been used on the student before he was transported away. We're working to learn more about what exactly happened there. Well, still ahead, there might be a cure for a painful disease that impacts tens of thousands of Americans. We'll show you the real impacts it could have on patients coming up next. Riley?
After a relatively warm weekend, we're back to temperatures below average. Going to see some chilly mornings over the next couple of days. Have a full look at the forecast for you just after the break.
Time and
'Tis the season to put a smile on a child's face.
It's the Marine Corps Toys for Tots Drive, and News 12 is proud to be an official drop-off location.
Drop off a new unwrapped toy at our studios during normal business hours.
Make a child's holiday brighter with News 12 and Toys for Tots.
All right, here's a live look from our Thermodam cam showing clear skies and pretty chilly temperatures expected this evening into tonight. So as the sun continues to get lower for us, we'll go from what is now the low 50s to most likely the 40s within the next hour, and then we're going to be dropping into the 30s pretty quickly. So any evening plans, definitely going to need to grab a jacket. By the time we get to late tonight and early tomorrow morning, we'll most likely drop to the 20s right around daybreak tomorrow morning. So it is going to be a frigid start to your Tuesday, and make sure you are protecting any sensitive outdoor plants you still have outside. Make sure your pets have a way to stay warm. Here's a look at other temperatures across the region tomorrow morning. You can see anywhere from around 26 to close to 30 degrees. Should be a good bet for at least 90% of us. Throughout the day tomorrow, we're going to hang on to generally sunny skies. May see a few high-level clouds at times, but high temps will remain below average. Only going to see the 50s for highs again Tuesday. By Wednesday, we'll start to see those highs just a tad warmer, at least to near 60 degrees. But for the most part, the rest of the week, our temperatures are expected to be below average for us. But not much rain in our forecast. So if you do want to wash the car, you got the green light to do that Tuesday, Wednesday, even Thursday and Friday. But unfortunately, we just kind of been locked into this pattern to where our rain chances, they got to show up for the weekend. So again, heading into the weekend, that's when our morning temperatures do start to bump back up. And then by Sunday, that appears to be our best opportunity for rainfall this week. But we are going to see these chilly mornings in the 20s over the next couple of days. We'll see just a weak front pass through Wednesday night. That'll bring us a few clouds. So temps staying in the mid-30s then. But then once that front passes through, back down most likely into the 20s, waking up early Friday morning. High temperatures remaining below average, most likely in the 50s for the majority of the week. You can see our average high temperature this time of year is 62 here in Augusta, so several degrees below normal, getting a little bit close to average by Wednesday. If you are heading up to the lake temps continue to drop. Currently being reported near 57 degrees at Plum Branch Yacht Club, and the lake level is still close to 322 feet, so close to 8 feet below full pool. If you are heading out to the lake, not expected to be too breezy the next couple of days with high pressure on top of us. That wind direction should stay on the northeast between 5 to 10 miles an hour. A little bit later into the week, we have one of the best meteor showers of the year, and actually it's timed out with a new moon, so we're not going to have a lot of lunar light pollution for this. The Geminid meteor showers, so the ideal time to check this out is going to be between the 13th and 14th, so that's going to be, I believe today is the 12th, so that would be tomorrow night to, I believe, Wednesday morning, so that would be our peak time to check this out. All you got to do is look towards the eastern sky between midnight and 2 a.m. That's going to be the ideal time to look at this, and it is going to be a little bit chilly and possibly a few clouds. We're hoping the clouds do stay away for that, but we're going to have much more on how you can check that out on WRDW.com later tonight. Here's a look at that 7-day forecast. We're going to see these chilly temps the rest of the week, and then once again by Sunday, that chance for rain is back.
Thanks, Riley. The FDA has now approved 2 new treatments for people suffering from sickle cell disease. This is a major breakthrough for the debilitating condition, which up until now has had little treatments. Joshua Skinner spoke to one family whose hopes are high for this treatment.
Simply put, sickle cell is a deadly disease where red blood cells are misshapen and clog up veins. There are roughly 100,000 Americans suffering from SCD, a disproportionate number of them African American. And until now, treatment options have been limited.
Initially, I'm very excited about it.
Tabitha McGee with the Sickle Cell Foundation of Georgia has been following advances in treatment for years.
It's a very chronic disease. It's a very painful disease, and it's often treated with opiates.
Now, the word cure is being thrown around, with the FDA approval of 2 gene therapy treatments. Those treatments are approved for people 12 and older. One treatment involves CRISPR technology, which uses a patient's stem cells to edit their DNA. The news comes as a blessing to Mapiller Dawn, who has 3 teenage daughters.
My Christmas came early.
One of Dawn's daughters, Deej, had a stroke at age 7 and has received over 100 blood transfusions. Her eldest daughter, Thule, is hard to transfuse and does not qualify for the new treatment.
She's currently 19. She just had her hip replaced. This is a 19-year-old who had her hip replaced and is due to complications from sickle cell disease.
And with a price tag in excess.
Wrdw.com later tonight. Here's a look at that 7-day forecast. We're going to see these chilly temps the rest of the week, and then once again by Sunday, that chance for rain is back.
Thanks, Riley. The FDA has now approved 2 new treatments for people suffering from sickle cell disease. This is a major breakthrough for the debilitating condition, which up until now has had little treatments. Joshua Skinner spoke to one family whose hopes are high for this treatment.
Simply put, sickle cell is a deadly disease where red blood cells are misshapen and clog up veins. There are roughly 100,000 Americans suffering from SCD, a disproportionate number of them African American. And until now, treatment options have been limited.
Initially, I'm very excited about it.
Tabitha McGee with the Sickle Cell Foundation of Georgia has been following advances in treatment for years.
It's a very chronic disease. It's a very painful disease, and it's often treated with opiates.
Now, the word cure is being thrown around, with the FDA approval of 2 gene therapy treatments. Those treatments are approved for people
Later tonight. Here's a look at that 7-day forecast. We're going to see these chilly temps the rest of the week, and then once again by Sunday, that chance for rain is back.
Thanks, Riley. The FDA has now approved 2 new treatments for people suffering from sickle cell disease. This is a major breakthrough for the debilitating condition, which up until now has had little treatments. Joshua Skinner spoke to one family whose hopes are high for this treatment.
Simply put, sickle cell is a deadly disease where red blood cells are misshapen and clog up veins. There are roughly 100,000 Americans suffering from SCD, a disproportionate number of them African American. And until now, treatment options have been limited.
Initially, I'm very excited about it.
Tabitha McGee with the Sickle Cell Foundation of Georgia has been following advances in treatment for years.
It's a very chronic disease. It's a very painful disease, and it's often treated with opiates.
Now, the word cure is being thrown around, with the FDA approval of 2 gene therapy treatments. Those treatments are approved for people 12 and older. One treatment involves CRISPR technology, which uses a patient's stem cells to edit their DNA. The news comes as a blessing to Mapiller Dawn, who has 3 teenage daughters.
My Christmas came early.
One of Dawn's daughters, Deej, had a stroke at age 7 and has received over 100 blood transfusions. Her eldest daughter, Thule, is hard to transfuse and does not qualify for the new treatment.
She's currently 19. She just had her hip replaced. This is a 19-year-old who had her hip replaced and is due to complications from sickle cell disease.
And with a price tag in excess of $1 million, it's also a question of who can afford it.
Is it really a cure if it's not accessible?
And that's where the next frontier for treating sickle cell lies.
We have to start talking about how is this going to get paid for.
Those conversations between advocates, insurance companies, and Medicare and Medicaid are just beginning. But this step, this cure, represents a major breakthrough and hope for solving a disease previously unsolvable.
I cannot understate how just amazing and wonderful this is.
And these 2 new treatments are amazing by themselves, but they're both a new type of treatment, gene therapy. This involves literally editing the small part of a patient's genetic makeup that causes red blood cells to become deformed. Stick with us. We have much more coming up after a short break.
First Alert Radar, powered by Jim Hudson Automotive Group. Did you know $100? That's right, it's that easy. Get your SRP spotted sticker or magnet from any SRP location and you could be spotted and win $100. Follow us on Facebook for even more chances to win with Spot Me SRP. Good things are happening at SRP.
When you need surgery, an anesthesiologist typically handles the sedation and monitoring, while another provider focuses on the procedure at hand. Our national investigative reporter Josie Sturman discovered dentists are often allowed to do something that most doctors don't, handle both anesthesia and surgery. In practice, medical advocates say needs to change.
Dr. Henry Patel was a stealth operator in the operating room, a renowned North Carolina cardiologist with a heart of gold.
He was a super specialist in implanting pacemakers and defibrillators. And he loved his job, probably as much as he loved us.
a love lost in July 2020 when Sheetal Patel says her husband booked a quick and routine dental procedure at this Wilmington practice. Records obtained by our National Investigative Team show Patel's oxygen levels and heart rate dropped while he was being sedated for a simple dental implant. He went into cardiac arrest, but records show the dentist involved made no attempts at CPR, and the team failed to successfully carry out several other life-saving measures. Patel died 3 days later.
No other medical field allows this. Okay, we call it the medical model. The only people who don't follow it, and they're allowed not to follow it, are dentists.
In a hospital or surgery center, that medical model is what you're probably used to if you've been deeply sedated for something like a colonoscopy or put under general anesthesia for a hip replacement or heart surgery. One doctor or specialized nurse knocks you out and watches your vital signs while someone else performs the procedure. That way there's skilled backup if you stop breathing. But when you go to your dentist's office, state regulations nationwide often allow them to do something other medical professionals generally do not: handle both anesthesia and surgery.
I honestly don't see how you can do that and operate in the mouth and truly recognize when things have gotten out of hand.
Dr. Charles Cote, professor emeritus of anesthesia at Harvard Medical School, helped to create critical guidelines for dental sedation and anesthesia that recommended dentists doing surgery should be accompanied by another provider with specific airway rescue training, be it another oral surgeon, an anesthesiologist, or a nurse anesthetist, with both people specially trained for emergencies. But those guidelines are not universally implemented across the U.S.
And nobody should die having a dental procedure.
But deaths can and do happen in the dentist's chair. Using records from the last 5 years, our team uncovered at least 26 anesthesia-related deaths in 13 states, with at least 14 deaths where the dentist delayed calling 911, waited or never performed CPR, failed to provide adequate or timely emergency care, or administer life-saving drugs to reverse the effects of anesthesia.
I would really love for the dental community to grab onto this as a societal issue, to protect their patients and go back and look at what's happening.
Cote says an analysis of closed malpractice cases would give the dental community a more concrete sense of how often adverse anesthesia events happen, something we asked the American Association of Oral and Maxillofacial Surgeons about. They refused to answer questions about that and other topics, even after originally asking for additional time to respond. Still, Dr. Cote, Sheetal Patel, and other medical advocates continue lobbying for that second highly skilled provider to be part of dental surgery.
I will use every penny I have to keep fighting, because no one should come back or come out of a dentist office as a widow.
And our team repeatedly contacted the dentist involved in Dr. Patel's death and his attorney. Neither responded with comment for the story. Dr. Austin's dental license has been permanently surrendered. Riley?
Well, we are looking to hang on to dry weather over the next couple of days. Mostly sunny tomorrow, a few more clouds Wednesday and Thursday, but high temperatures remaining a couple of degrees below average for this time of year. I'm going to look at that 7-day just after the break.
We can fix it.
All right, beautiful look at sunset here from our Beach Island camera. Clear skies tonight and winds are calming down, so that means our temperatures are going to drop very quickly. Still reporting 52 out at Bushfield, but I would imagine temperatures are falling into the 40s in most spots within the next 30 minutes or so. And we'll continue to see these temperatures drop overnight, most likely by daybreak tomorrow morning. I'm thinking a lot of spots across the area, especially away from the city, will get down into the 20s. So a frigid start to the morning, and even afternoon highs remaining below average again, most likely only mid-50s out there tomorrow afternoon. Generally sunny skies Tuesday, partly cloudy conditions Wednesday into Thursday as a weak front does pass on through. Not going to bring us any rainfall, but we'll drop our temperatures again towards the end of the work week, and then by the weekend, maybe some rain by Sunday.
All right, thanks, Riley. Stick with us. We have more news, weather, and sports coming up after a short break as News 12 Live at 5 continues.
They say
a serious accident creates a lot of right now problems. You're worried about your injuries, the medical bills, and whether you'll get stuck paying for it all. You shouldn't have to chase after a lawyer to get the help you need. With me, you won't have to. I'm Austin Jackson, your guy in Augusta. If you've been injured, my team will get to work right away. And you don't have to pay us anything unless we get money for you. Injured? Call Austin Jackson, the Augusta guy. 706-724-7224.
At TL